Right, I think we'll get cracking, because we know there's been a bit of confusion with everything. So anyway, hello. This is our B Corp masterclass. Of course, the timings have changed. This is going to totally throw me. So I'm going to have to adjust everything on my notes by 10 minutes. But I'm your chair today, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. This is quite a hard, fast session, so forgive us in advance because we're going to go through things quite quickly. What I've promised everybody, though, is that you will come away from this session hopefully inspired to create some action, to go away and actually do something. So we won't just be talking at you for talking's sake. You're going to hopefully be inspired and go away and want to do something. I'm Georgie. I'm the managing director of Wild West Communications, sister companies Wildcard in London, and we became a B Corp last year. Big journey that we went through, and kind of quite inspired to talk to other people about how they go on the journey. So this is what a lot of this is about today, to inspire you to get going. And from our point of view, we became B Corp, not only because we knew it was the right thing to do for our business, but actually we work with clients and we wanted to help our clients on their journey too. And what's the best way to help people on a journey? It's to have done it yourself and to understand it. So that's, one of the other reasons why we got involved. I've got 3 other B Corp business leaders here today from different sectors. So I've got specific questions to ask them, which I'm really hoping that you guys will find interesting. And just before I introduce them, I wanted to outline just a little bit, just in a nutshell, about what is a B Corp, just so we're all more or less on the same page. So certified B Corps are businesses that are committed to doing more than just make money, basically, in a nutshell. So we're actually, you become legally accountable actually to balancing profit and purpose. And you'll hear us today talk quite a bit about the triple bottom line. So when we talk about profit, we also need to consider our people and we need to consider our planet as well around it. And in case you didn't know, there are 14 B Corp organisations here in Cornwall, and we actually have an ambition to build one of the largest B Corp communities outside of London. So watch this space. And just some businesses, in case you don't know, again, there's around 4,000 B Corps globally, 500 certified in the UK, or probably more than that now. And some big businesses and brands that you might know. So Danone, huge multinational. So if they can be B Corp, then surely anyone can. But other brands that also everyone knows and loves, like Ben & Jerry's, Innocent Smoothies, Jamie Oliver Group, interestingly, and also The Guardian and Observer newspaper. So I just wanted to share that as well. Right, I'm going to get cracking. Do feel free. I'm hoping the chat function will work. So if you think we're missing anything, throw some questions up. I will do my best to monitor them. If not, and if you feel we've got through the session, there's stuff you'd like to know, we've got a LinkedIn page, Be Local Cornwall. You can find us all in there. And you can ask any questions and we'll always try and help you and help other people on the journey. Right, so first of all, I'm going to introduce the speakers, and they can kind of wave and they'll come in and talk in a minute. But first of all, we've got Matt Hocking. So Matt is the founder of Leap, and he's actually their creative sustainability officer now. But he set up Leap 17 years ago, so kind of way before B Corp was even a thing. And actually, he set it up to actually use design to create positive change. So he's ahead of his game. But he's also a well-respected B leader. So there's nothing he doesn't know about B Corps. Then we've got Scott James as well here today. So Scott is a partner with Ward Williams Associates. And Scott led the business to B Corp certification in 2020. And they're actually the first chartered surveyors in the world to achieve B Corp status. So it's absolutely incredible. And also really relevant for today, he serves as a co-chair on the B Corp UK Built Environment Working Group. That sounds quite wordy, but he can tell you more about that as we go. And then we've got Sarah. So Sarah Collins, who's here. She's actually the managing director of Don't Cry Wolf. And that is a London brand activism consultancy. So they work with brave businesses who would rather take action on an issue rather than navel gaze. And Sarah works on some really exciting campaigns for brands that really want to make a difference, and wanted to bring her in here today from her point of view as well, from a more kind of a branding perspective. Right, so that's who we've got talking. I'm now going to crack on and ask, I'm going to bring Matt in first of all. So hi, Matt. Hi. I'm going to dive straight in. So being a passionate B Corp ambassador, and absolutely committed to the triple bottom line. Anybody who's ever had a conversation with Matt, you can't get away without talking about it. People, planet and profit. Tell us, why would you encourage people here today, businesses and brands, to get involved in the B Corp assessment?
Okay, well, thanks, Georgie, for sort of having me along today, and hi, everybody. I guess it's a bigger thing, and I'll deal with it as quick as possible because I know time is very tight. I mean, this is a decade, after all, is, you know, pivotal decade, if tumultuous, for creating the future we want, where we have, you know, more of a chance to bring sustainable positive change, to reinvent everything that we are, to grow and flourish independently with our natural ecosystems. Our current economic system doesn't work. People are increasingly looking for businesses for answers. And I feel that B Corp is, in my opinion, the North Star for this. And I'd always say, why would you not get involved in the use of the B Corp framework, or even other such frameworks? So, you know, B Corp isn't the only one, but yes, this is a B Corp masterclass for it, you know, which helps us understand our sustainability and to be better in business. You know, you're no doubt, and from my experience of working with so many businesses over the last 2 decades, doing great things already with teams, with community, with your products, already having purpose. You know, B Corp doesn't create that purpose. It comes from you initially. And it's the framework, as far as I'm concerned, and the tool, which we call the business impact assessment, coalesces that and what you're already doing, what you could do, into a more measurable, ever improving place, as well as joining, you know, a global community of organizations who use their business to go beyond profit. Yes, make money, but also make change for people and planet. Now, B Corp allows organizations to revitalize and prioritize their business models towards becoming a true force for good. And with the free to use, as I said, business impact assessment, which we call the BIA, companies to measure their social, environmental and community impacts. Measuring and understanding, in my opinion, and has always been part of our business, is key to a sustainable future. Without measuring, how do we know how happy our people are, what our carbon budget is for operating our business per year and reducing it, and see the changes we have enabled in the world? You know, we may already measure these areas, but the BIA allows us to target new areas, enhance existing areas, ultimately work towards, you know, the more deeper levels that we're going to have to go as businesses in the future, true science-based targets for, say, for example, net zero, alongside bettering policy, recruitment practices, supply chains. You know, I can waffle on about this forever. Ultimately, it's useful from startup to scaling to established businesses of all sizes, wherever you are located in the world. And as far as I'm concerned, sustainability isn't about just getting to a standard and ticking that box and go, hey, we are there. It's about ever improvement, ever learning. And the BIA brings global knowledge and possibilities to our businesses, no matter where they are in the world. Really, you know, ultimately creating better outcomes, better business, a better way to work, better for our employees. I'm using the word better a lot, by the way. Better for attracting talents, clients, customers, investment, legacy, and resilience. You know, why would you not want to do this ultimately? There's more I could say, but I don't know how much of time I'm allowed to have.
Matt, so if I was to ask you then, what if people have gone onto this BIA, so the B impact assessment, which everyone is going to realize that's what we want people to go and have a look at. What if they're doing it and they're not scoring very highly? What would you say to them?
Well, the interesting thing, sometimes there's 2 things that happen from my experiences using the impact assessment. LEAP's just gone through its 3rd recertification since starting the journey in 2015, and the language does change, and the platform is global. You know, wherever you are in the world, unless it's translated, it's the same question for you, but different things into country will apply. Now, don't worry so much about where you are when you score. It's what you want to do to become better in business. You know, does that mean you just need to write a whole load of policies because you've never had time to write those policies? Does that mean you need to get a HR company involved? Is it relook at your governance structure? So it kind of puts these lenses on the different areas of your organization. And some of those things, you know, one of the tips for my business was to implement a board of non-exec directors. I haven't done it. It would score more. I haven't had the time to really think about where I find those people to help our organization. So don't worry about the score. And if you look on YouTube, just put in B Corp, you'll come up with loads of people's businesses stories about where they started and what it took to get them to it. And some say they got to it very quick, and others it's kind of like, I think it was Ella's Kitchen, which is a leading B Corp. but they scored something like 13 or 30 points initially. It took them a year working with a consultant to get to where they wanted to. And I'd ultimately say is, yes, to get the B Corp certification is great, but to use the framework is even better. It's free to use. It's a tool that your business can use. 100,000 users globally of that tool that aren't B Corps at this present time. They may in the future be it, but it's free. Why not use that resource?
Perfect. Thank you. And you've done it on time. That's amazing. Right. Thank you, Scott. I'm going to bring you in, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And Scott, you're part of a really large organisation. There's offices across the UK. So how does a business with a wide leadership team and varying sites, how do you align strategically on something like B Corp when there's so many things to think about? And what advice can you give to the large organisations that might be here today?
Well, I think we were in the position that a lot of these businesses on the call today, probably about 18 months ago. So we were at the stage where our senior partner, Andy Snapes, was on the call as well, actually, had seen at a Cornish event the opportunities which B Corp could give a business like ours. And really, I think like a lot of business, it aligns with what our core values are about anyway. It's about trying to do the right thing, not just in our technical capacity, but as a business in the community with our staff and the impact we have on the environment. Those ambitions kind of aligned with what our staff were telling us in terms of their values as people and where they wanted to take the business. So there was a kind of a natural coming together at that point. And I think one of the things that smaller businesses can really do quite well in certainly less than 100 staff that we've got is start to bring that together as a consensus and use, as Matt's rightly referred to, the B Corp as a framework for ongoing improvement and actually judging where you are as a business and focusing your priorities on. It might be community engagement, or it might be environmental improvements that you're doing as a business and the output that you've got. So B Corp is very good at doing that. I think the business our size, and we've got a leadership team of around 6 or 7, it's about making it tangible, making it real for them and showing the added value that B Corp can really bring to your business. Now, I think in our sector in construction, if you're not a leader, and we're fortunate to be a bit of a leader in this respect, you'll soon get left behind. I think others will go down this route. So there is something about actually B Corp is good for your business and it'll add value, it'll create new business opportunities, and you can use it to improve the quality of employment for your staff as well, and the attracting of new staff, which is crucial for a lot of our businesses.
Thank you, Scott. And can I ask you a question about clients? Because quite a few of us out there, obviously we work with clients. How do you use B Corp to shape the direction of projects that you're working on? Do you take it and do you talk to your clients about it?
Yeah, we do, and increasingly so. I mean, we've started to talk about people, places, and planet in terms of what we're offering to our clients and to the people that we impact, the businesses and the communities that we impact and work with. So I think it's about that positioning really, and we've started to do that over the last year, and that'll be an ongoing, ever increasing process, I think, in terms of our brand, and more of that from us certainly this year. But in terms of clients, what we're seeing is that a number of light bulbs are kind of going on in clients' minds as to, oh, those guys, what they're talking about and the way they're looking to do things actually aligns with what they want to do as a business as well. And construction is a really interesting one. I mean, people talk about the turning of the oil tanker. I don't think there's any sector slower probably to turn than the construction sector, because it's such a historic sector. It's a very large value sector, about £1 billion into the economy each year in Cornwall alone. How do we get that degree of movement when people actually want to get things done faster, cheaper? Well, actually, it's also better. How do we get things done better over the whole life of the output that we produce, which is buildings, it's the built environment. And so I think what clients are starting to see is actually it's about a long-term investment in creating the right benefit for their communities that they're investing in, if that's a local authority or if that's a university, or if it's about building the right building that'll still be sustainable in 10, 15, 20 years time and not just left behind. So people are starting to do the right thing about looking at the whole life value of projects, and that's something which we want to do more and more of. And I think the next stage that we're going to be taking clients on the journey, hopefully with us and with others of a like mind, is that was talked about this morning about whole system thinking, whereas you've got your kind of energy systems and you've got your built environment working together in harmony and having a positive contribution into the natural environment. I mean, that's all kind of wordy, but there's ways in which that can be done really well. And we need to really work more collaboratively together as a sector, but also with other bodies like the financial institutions who are investing in the built environment. that's absolutely crucial. Because if there's a constant race to the bottom, perhaps like there has been over the last 30 years or so, we'll be in a very poor position in Cornwall and the rest of the country. If we flip that on its head and start to work together creatively, we can create some brilliant places.
Thank you, Scott. That's really interesting. I've got another question, but I'm going to come back and ask you at the end, because I'm going to bring in Sarah now. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
So Sarah, in your business, you talk a lot about authenticity, and I hope you don't mind me saying, but it's like this no bullshit approach to comms. And I wanted to ask you whether you think B Corp can help businesses with that true authentic voice and to help them find their kind of purpose and their voice.
I'm going to be a little bit controversial with this one and say absolutely not, which is probably a little bit counterintuitive given that we're here to talk about B Corp. But I think the B Corp is a brilliant thing, but it can't define you. You know, you have to figure out what defines you as a business first and what constitutes your values, and then let B Corp help you to shape it and to kind of move it forward, you know. So I think Matt was mentioning the fact that it's sort of this framework, and what it does for us quite wonderfully is kind of hold us accountable. So we know who we are, we know what we stand for, we know what our purpose is, but then B Corp is part of the way that we actually kind of measure and benchmark ourselves and see how we're getting on and report back to our stakeholders on how we're doing against those kind of commitments and values. So I think it absolutely can help shape it, and you can look to the people in the community for advice, and it's an incredible kind of warm and open and brilliantly collaborative place. But I think unless you have an idea of what you stand for first, you're going to find it very, very difficult for B Corp to actually help you to define that. And one thing that I would say is I think, you know, it now is, everybody talks about this all the time, purpose, 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 purpose. Everybody's out there talking about it. And it feels like it's kind of a minimum expectation now to have a sense of purpose about your business. But I think that what's super vital is to kind of, yes, look at purpose, but then also be really focused, because without action, purpose is kind of lost. I think there is sort of this idea of having a purpose, and it can often feel quite high level. There's a mantra in our kind of little marketing world that start with why, and it's actually like, start with why, yeah, but also start with how. So committing to a set of values, but then also committing to a set of actions that I think is super important, and making it really realistic as well. Like, you know, you can't set an objective if you're a 10-person business about removing all of the ocean plastics in the entire world, but you might be able to say, I want to cut Cornish ocean plastics by 20%, for example, you know. So just kind of set that purpose, set that direction, but then also hold yourself accountable and set those kind of realistic and tangible goals.
Thank you, Sarah. So do you think then that in terms of advice that you would give to a business that thinks, okay, I think I want to be B Corp, but I don't really know how to do it, or do I have my purpose? Where do I go from here? What should be their first step? What would you tell them to do?
Well, Matt's just said that I'm wonderfully eloquent, so I would say probably go and speak to Matt first and find out a lot more about B Corp. But I think, I mean, I don't know. No one's ready, are they? I mean, we applied for B Corp pending right at the beginning of the business. That was kind of one of the things that was one of the founding principles when John set it up. But I think that, you know, if you can reflect on your business and have a clear understanding of what it is that you want to do to make the world better, that is an important step in the right direction. I think that if you know what that is, then you're ready to be part of the B Corp community. Everybody's learning, everybody's kind of taking that next step. But I think that it's also a source of inspiration. So, you know, listen and get inspired by lots of different things that are out there. Definitely take part in discussions on Twitter, but also speak to people down the pub. Find out, you know, from people outside your echo chamber what they think, and then just kind of take little bits from everywhere and just really focus and understand exactly what it is that drives you and what your kind of objective and purpose is. And I know that you said that we should recommend some reading and some ideas and bits and pieces that people might want to pick up. So there was just a couple of things that I wanted to recommend. So there's Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, which is an amazing thing about really focusing in on exactly what you are going to do and you are going to change and forget about everything else. Also, Steve Jobs's talk on Think Differently. So that's the Apple slogan that was created way back when. It's old, but it's good. And then also, I'm sure everybody's seen My Octopus Teacher, but that taught me more about life than I think anything else that I've watched in the past year. So those are kind of a couple of sources of inspiration. But I just think that if you know yourself and what you stand for, then you're definitely ready to take that step.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Matt, I was just going to bring you back in. Was there something that you wanted to touch on in terms of the demand, did you say?
Yeah, I mean, Andy and I are just talking about it ourselves, and there is a logjam in B Corp at the moment, and it's getting bigger. It's I know we got Kyle here, who might be from B Lab, who might be able to say something, but be prepared. What we're finding is a lot of organizations, there are some organizations that are brilliantly prepared, and they've worked with B leaders or other sustainability consultants like the Fab Chris Hines and people like that, and they are there, and it's still a rigorous process, and they've got all their information, they've got their data, and they're going through the 6 months verification to certification process. But there are others that are literally kind of doing it, getting above 80 points, because that's how many points you need to become a B Corp, 80 points and above. But they're not doing the paper trail. So once they're in the system, they are then trying to do all their paperwork, and then that's really holding down the system as well. And in each country around the world, the US B Corp standards are run out of the USB lab, and each region country gets a certain amount of points, and that only allows a certain amount of certifications each year, approximately 150 in the UK, with the UK being the highest growth and most demanding place on the planet now, the biggest marketplace for B Corp. So be expectant that there are going to be some delays, and there are some comms issues, and they're trying to work through it, but they are a small team in the UK. I don't know what it's like for other countries, and I don't know if Kyle is able to put a voice to this, or isn't. Oh, we've only got 57 seconds. Isn't ready. So, but all I'd say is be prepared, and then the couple of other things is also to don't, I think Sarah said it, don't do it alone, try to involve other people, involve your staff and the like, but use the framework first to work out the business, and the certification is just a bonus on top. It looks really good, it's great for business, but you can set it down, you can put it out on socials. Hey, we're going for B Corp, we don't know how long it's going to take, but we're on that journey, and the community may rally around you as well. Okay,
thank you, Matt. Scott, was there a final word from you? Anything that you wanted to say quickly?
Only be stubborn, I suppose. I suppose that's the only B thing I would say as a business. That's what you can do to get where you need to, and to create the impact afterwards as well. So carry on being stubborn.
Love it. All right. Thank you, everybody. I know that was short and sweet. Don't forget to find us on LinkedIn. See you soon.